All right, and we are back for round two. We are here at the Port of New York and New Jersey, and I am here with
Blair Wegescheide Kelly.
Blair Wegescheide Kelly. And Blair, what is your role here at the Port of New York and New Jersey?
I am the manager of port efficiency.
All right, and you've been here before.
I have,
right?
yeah.
Our guest and our resident port expert, we'll call you, right? So welcome back, Blair.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. So since we last spoke, Blair, have container volumes and truck activity increased at the Port of New York and New Jersey?
Yes. I believe we spoke in the spring, maybe. So we were talking about peak season then. So we definitely experienced elevated cargo volumes during that peak season over the summer. So we saw a very busy July. I believe we were at over 800,000 TEUs, which was our busiest July on record, actually. So we think that happened mainly because there's some uncertainty in the port, but the shippers, beneficial cargo owners were really trying to front load a lot of their cargo and bring in some more inventory before this holiday season and the end of the year as well.
Okay. TEUs, can you explain what that is?
Sure. Yep. So that's a 20-foot equivalent unit. It's really in our port world, or on the maritime side, the basic unit of measurement for a container. So when containerization started, it was the typical size container of a 20-foot, but now a lot of what you see out on the street in those containers are 40 foots, so that would be 2 TEUs.
Got it. So what specific factors such as global trade trends, new shipping routes, or regional demand are driving this growth?
Yeah, so I think just out in the market in general, kind of going back to COVID and the pandemic, right? You have a lot of consumer demand, a lot of folks shopping online, trying to get ready for the holidays in general. So in our world, we see a lot of preparation in that. So back in 2020, things shifted away from a just-in-time type inventory structure. So you had shippers at that point who were more so bringing in goods right kind of in that nick of time, right? So you think of your deliveries that you're trying to get in 2 days, they'd send something in, get it right before they're then sending that out to a consumer. After and during the pandemic, it moved to just in case. So a lot of shippers are trying to bring in their inventory for months out in advance and make sure that they have extra stock of things moving forward. So we've been seeing a lot of that. And then with that comes cargo surges. So you might hit a few weeks or a month here and there where, especially in that peak season, those shippers are bringing in a full inventory for the holiday season as well as into the new year, because things typically slow down heading into Lunar New Year just due to manufacturing in Asia, which is January, February kind of time frame. So we definitely experienced those cargo surges, saw that in July, and then have felt that strength of cargo even in August and September. So September also set some records for itself as well and was over about 770,000 TEUs. So brings us to about 6.5 million TEUs.
All right, y'all, listen, I'm happy to announce that we finally launched our YouTube memberships. Listen, if you want to support Truck and Hustle for all the hard work that we've been doing over the past 5 years, this is where you need to be. As a part of our memberships, number one, you'll get exclusive access to all of our archive content. Number two, we'll be doing at least one live webinar with one of the guests or somebody else from our network that you love to continue to add value to you and your business. Third, we'll be having exclusive behind the scenes content that we shoot and doesn't, make the final cut. So make sure you go check it out. Get that subscription right now and join us, man. TNH forever. Let's go.
Year to September for 2024. So we'll still probably see some strength throughout the end of the year and the data that we keep getting for the rest of the fall months and winter months too.
Got it. I love it. Just in time to just in case, huh?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
How is the port managing the increased activity and maintaining efficiency?
Yeah, so we always try to lead with a lot of communication. We collaborate closely with our stakeholders too. So we meet monthly with our Council on Port Performance. So we really try to share what we're hearing from folks, but also make sure that we're meeting frequently together as a port community, try to understand what those bottlenecks might be so that we can then fix those quickly, and then also figure out what we're doing well so that we can keep doing those and maybe spread that to other partners, stakeholders in the supply chain. So yeah, I would say we're trying to always lead with communication. Anytime we get information, we really try to make sure that that gets out to the truckers, to the local warehouse and distribution centers, and all of the different operators here at the port, both in the terminals and the ocean carriers as well.
Got it. Are there any particular industries or goods that's contributing to the surge in container volumes?
Not that I would, I guess, specifically target. Here at the Port of New York and New Jersey, we do a lot of furniture, household appliances, even like food commodities, right? So beverages, produce, seafood, things like that. So those are our typical, like, major commodity groups and probably like top 10 kind of list of goods that are coming in. So really that's my, I think, main understanding, at least, of the shippers we're usually engaging with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just the general kind of consumer demand right now where everyone's always trying to update something in their house, right? Or as I mentioned before, those shippers are trying to bring in more inventory before the end of the year.
Got it. How does the increase impact trucking operations at the port?
Yeah, so we've broken, in July, we broke some weekly truck visit counts. We had over 80,000 unique truck visits in certain weeks in that month. So definitely seeing more truck activity on the roads. With that, we're always trying to make sure that we stay on top of traffic management. Mind you, that's all happening while we have a major roadway project going on here.
We'll talk about that.
Port Newark and Elizabeth, exactly. So, yeah, we really always are trying to get ahead of those things. If we know that we're going to have additional ocean carrier services in on a given week, then we really try to make sure we're sending out those e-alerts that go out to the trucking community, whether it's text or email, make sure that they're aware of any like motor vehicle accident or queuing that might be happening outside of a terminal. So yeah, it's definitely elevating truck counts at our terminals and I think causing some additional traffic on those roadways, which we're always trying to make sure that we can get ahead of.
Got it. What challenges, if any, has the port faced in handling this growth?
Yeah, I think it really has been that traffic at times, right? We have backups on different roadways and with roadway detours that we have going on during construction for that Port Street Corridor Improvement Project. So again, we really just try to lead with communication. We try to get as much trucker feedback as we can, so we still have those QR anonymous survey codes out at all of our facilities. So if a trucker is facing kind of a common area of bottleneck or traffic, it's helpful for us to know, and so we get that information real time so that we can then hopefully kind of help those drivers as they're planning to either arrive at the port or get out of the complex so they can complete that move.
Okay. Speaking of the drivers, in September we had Trucker Appreciation Week. How did the Port of New York and New Jersey show appreciation to the trucking community, and what feedback did you receive from the drivers?
Yeah, so I think this was a pretty successful Trucker Appreciation Week for us this year. We felt like we got out in front of more drivers, so we hope the trucking community feels that same way. This year we partnered with the marine terminal operators out here, so we were face-to-face handing out lunches and free giveaways at certain terminals.
Nice.
And then just making sure that we could hand out some resource bags as well. So some basic information about kind of where to go, who to contact if a driver might be having any issues at the port, the right customer service folks to get a hold of. And then we also had some information about like state or federal grants that the Port Authority helps with around truck replacement program and clean truck type grants that the state of New Jersey offers to truckers as well as like workforce health and safety training that's available in the state of New Jersey too. So we've reached about 400 truckers, which was a lot more than we had done in previous years. So we're really trying to make sure that we use that success and push that into next year's celebrations, and then also learn from everything we were hearing from those drivers and being able to chat with them and answer some questions, and then deliver that in some new programs and events coming up as well.
Got it. Are there plans to make this an even bigger initiative in the future?
Yeah, we hope to. We spread out kind of different terminals across the week, but we hope to be able to do a few more sessions here and there for more touch points in that week, and obviously outside of that week too, making sure that we're out and about and meeting with drivers specifically. That's a huge thing for us.
Yeah, that was actually my follow-up question. How do we ensure that the appreciation efforts go beyond just a single week and we recognize the truckers year-round?
Yeah, so I would say that's where we're really trying to up the amount of feedback that we can get from drivers, because that helps us help them. So we did actually introduce a new program recently where we're rewarding truckers for sharing their feedback with us.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, so we just launched, it's a year-long pilot, trying to understand kind of the whole rewards program, and we're working with a new company to do that. So the Port Authority has launched a trucker ambassador program. So anytime a trucker sees those QR codes that I mentioned before, you can scan that, a survey will pop up, and essentially if you fill out that survey, you'll be rewarded with points that then become gift cards, right? So you can use it for food delivery apps, gas, and so you're able to redeem the points that you earn for filling out different surveys for actual gift cards that hopefully make the life of a driver a little bit easier, a little bit better. So we'll be doing that over the next year. We just launched it, so it's really just the beginning of that program. But there's information on how to sign up. We can share that link with you. And once a driver opens that link, signs up as a trucking ambassador, they don't have to share their name with us. We just need an email address or a phone number to get started. And they can use a promo code to get a few bonus points. So that promo code is Truck Rewards. So if you use Truck Rewards on sign up, you get some bonus points to help you earn those gift cards a little bit faster, and earn some points towards some gas and food delivery right now. There is a question on that survey. If they want to see different rewards, they want different types of gift cards, we're happy to take that feedback too. But we really want to be able to take that tangible information that they're sharing with us and make the trucker experience here at the port a lot better.
What's up, Hustle fam? If you're an owner-operator looking for your next big opportunity, listen up, because this one might just be for you. J Trucking, based right out of Albany, Georgia, is a family-owned trucking business that's been in the game for almost 30 years, and they've just locked in a major contract with a large manufacturing company. That means they're looking for experienced owner-operators to grow with. With consistent, dedicated freight, you'll have steady work you can count on. Plus, they're offering competitive rates that'll keep your wheels and your earnings rolling. There's multiple lanes available, so you can choose what works best for you. But here's the catch. This opportunity is going fast. If you want in, you've got to act now. Give J Trucking a call at 678-361-5778 and ask for Abigail or Smita to learn more. I love it. Are there any other specific events or partnerships that you guys are doing throughout the years to help celebrate the drivers?
Yeah, so otherwise we're always available at our truck service center. So that's here at Elizabeth Port Authority Marine Terminal in Expressport Plaza. So we have staff there each day that are really there to make sure if a driver has questions or concerns or is trying to figure out a new process, they can stop there in person or give them a phone call or send an email too. But that's really our main area. We often try to have coffee there, some breakfast at times. So definitely stay tuned, look out on the port's social media account for any of those types of events. So we hope to do more of those to really be able to have face-to-face interaction. We're also exploring some different events that kind of work with different stakeholders across the port, but in specific types of commodities that are coming through the port. So we do have a cold chain roundtable coming up that truckers are welcome to come to.
Okay.
If they're transporting reefer containers or focus on the transport of refrigerated cargo, more than welcome to come. We have that on December 4th from 10 to 2 in Newark. So that's all going out on our social media platforms, but might be a good opportunity for drivers to interact with the warehouses, the marine terminal operators, and even the ocean carriers, kind of understand what's happening in that market of cold storage and cold commodities, and how they might be able to share some insights from the trucking side to make sure that that cold chain process goes smoothly here in New York and New Jersey.
I like that. That's a great opportunity for truckers to get involved with. I hope they take advantage of that. Can you share any standout moments from the Trucker Appreciation Week that you remember that stand out to you?
Yeah, sure. We actually met a father-son duo in one of their cabs who the father had been in trucking for, I think it was like 20, 25 years.
Wow.
And been here at the Port of New York and New Jersey for a while. So it was nice to be able to thank both of them and also kind of see it shifting from one generation to the next and them being able to work together here at the port. So it was also helpful to hear some of the concerns that they had seen, or right the then and now kind of experience and how things were going. So it was helpful to be able to hear more from them and also just see the appreciation and the thankfulness that they had for us being out there, when really in reality we wanted to just say thank you for the impact that they have had on our industry and that truckers continue to have at the port here too.
Wow, I love that. Trucker feedback is clearly a priority of the port. Are there any new initiatives, technology, or policies that have been directly influenced by this feedback?
Yeah, so a lot of the work we've been doing, we're trying to focus on some tangible improvements first, right? So infrastructure improvements have been a big thing, where a major concern was access to restrooms over the last couple of years, because when you're waiting to get into a terminal or make that move in between two facilities, we totally understand that can be hard to find a safe and clean spot. So we've updated several of the public restroom facilities here at the port. We've also been doing a lot of work on roadways, just basic navigational type signage and striping, as well as lighting across the port complex. So I'd say that was our major focus over like the past year to 2 years. Now we've been focused on kind of hearing those pieces of feedback, the surveys that have been completed, and trying to increase the amount of surveys that we receive. So we've definitely seen an uptick since we've spoken to you in the spring.
Love to hear that.
And we want to hear more. So I think the initiative of having rewards for truckers to fill out those surveys has been our next push, to try to hear from more drivers, whether it's a company driver or an independent owner operator, and make sure that we're really just trying to get in front of more of those truckers, more experiences, not only the good, but any concerns that they have as well, so that we can kind of figure out those next focus areas. But part of that has been really then just trying to get out in front of them. So our Trucker Appreciation Series, and then having more of those events at the Truck Service Center too.
I love it. How does the port actually gather and act on the driver input effectively?
Sure. So those survey responses come in real time. So we're able to monitor that, and they're anonymous, right? So it's tough for us to go back and talk to one specific driver, but we really try to look for any trends or things that each of those different responses are speaking to. If it concerns something that the Port Authority is responsible for, so like roadway safety or traffic metering, then we work with our operations and maintenance team out here at Port Newark and Elizabeth and our other facilities in Bayonne, as well as Staten Island. So we'll make sure that we hone in on whatever that issue may be. If it's something that a trucker is experiencing at a marine terminal operator's location, then that's when we engage directly with that marine terminal operator and share the feedback that we're hearing, how often we're getting that type of concern or improvement that might be needed, and then we work with them to change a process or even just send out additional educational or awareness type information about maybe what's happening in their yard or an in-gate or out-gate kind of process as well.
Got it. And what are the biggest concerns or pain points that truckers are raising? I know the restrooms that's one.
Yep, that was a big one. Our e-alert system. So I think a lot of times previously when we were sending out those e-alerts, they might have come a little bit too late for a driver to make a decision around whether they were going to use a different roadway because there was congestion on another one of the port's roadways. So we've really been trying to track how we're getting those e-alerts out and stay on top of any roadway changes or planned pavings and different events around the construction happening at the port right now. So really trying to make sure that our communication is a little bit more targeted, a little more timely and clearer, so that the trucking community has additional information even before they get to the port to make a move.
Got it. How does the port prioritize and implement changes based on the feedback?
Yeah, so it's a lot of tracking, making sure we're on top of
I'm sure.
everything that's coming in. At times, right, if we're seeing the same type of complaint, then we'll usually prioritize those to make sure that we figure out what might be causing that confusion or that bottleneck. So oftentimes it's if we're getting a few from the same location or just from the same kind of time period of a day even, that's when we'll hone in there. It's tough at first, right, when we weren't getting a ton of responses because we want to make sure that we're putting time and attention into the right things.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's been helpful now that we have more of that feedback so that we can just track it a little bit more frequently and understand then where to put those resources and how quickly we need to fix those things too.
So keep that feedback coming, guys.
Exactly.
Can you share an example of a past success where trucker feedback led to a meaningful improvement?
Yeah, I mean, I would go back to the restrooms,
Okay.
to be quite honest.
Okay.
Yeah, we've kind of seen a swing of right concerns and issues, and now when we see it, it's a little bit more one-off, and so we've seen a little bit more of the positive and feedback that shows that we've changed the status of those facilities.
Got it. All right. I think we kind of spoke about this, but we understand there's a new pilot program being launched that is called the Trucker Feedback Pilot Program for Trucker Feedback, correct?
Yes, yeah, the Trucker Ambassador Program.
Okay. We did kind of speak on this already, but can you share the goals of that initiative and exactly how it will work one more time for me?
Exactly. So we're really trying to increase the feedback that we're receiving from drivers. We know we have over 18,000 registered drivers at the Port of New York and New Jersey, and we are not able to get out in front and meet with all of those drivers face to face. So in order to make sure that we're still hearing from them, we just want to make sure that they understand all of the opportunities and availability of the resources that the port can provide to them. So we want to reward them for sharing their thoughts and ideas and concerns or positive wins that they can back with us. So a driver can sign up. We have some one-pagers and marketing advertisements that have gone out on our port social media pages. We've also sent those flyers through some of the larger trucking associations at the port, try to make sure that their drivers and the trucking companies are aware of it. But it's a pilot program through Transit Tech Lab, which tries out new technology and new programs in regional transportation authorities. So the Port Authority's partnered with a technology provider to reward truckers for the feedback that they share. So this is the first time that company is doing anything on the trucking side of things. They usually work with commuters on a rail line and incentivize those commuters to share their feedback with the transportation agency. So the Port Authority is excited to try that out with the dray trucking community specifically. So a trucker can sign up through that link. We'll make sure to share it with you guys and use Truck Rewards as the promo code when they sign up as a trucker ambassador. And then they can start, really after that, it's immediate. You can start filling out surveys and it's just the same trucker anonymous feedback survey that are available through those QR codes at the port. So anytime they see that QR code, feel free to scan that too, and you'll get points every time you're filling out a survey, and then those points can be accumulated to redeem them for gift cards for food delivery as well as gas.
Got it. How will the success of the pilot program be measured?
Yeah, so really we're trying to see if we can increase the number of feedback responses that we get to that survey. So since numbers have been fairly low, we're really trying to track that kind of on a month-to-month basis. And then also we want to gain more of those trusted trucker ambassadors that continue to engage with us. So we're able to see how many people have signed up. We're really trying to target, I think right now we've had about 50 to 75 folks sign up. We're trying to get closer to 300 in the first 3 months of this pilot so that we can get a diverse set of responses, right? We want different types of drivers, folks that have been here either years and years, right? Like the father-son pairing that we saw on Trucker Appreciation Day,
Yeah.
or those that are brand new to the port or to the industry and are trying to figure out some of the processes of how to pick up up or drop off goods here. So kind of want to understand where our gaps might be and where we might need to share more resources, or where we need to improve certain things that long-term drivers have been experiencing and seeing and want to see change.
Got it. And I'm sure there's plans to expand the program past the pilot phase, right? Like,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah. So we want to see how it goes in that first
kind of
year.
iterate on it, see, and make some changes and adjustments.
Exactly. Yep. Understand even how we've been getting out and the outreach behind this pilot, and how we've been approaching drivers on it. So really, yeah, lessons learned there, trying to make sure that we're doing the right way of getting in front of the right folks, and then go from there. So
how does the program align with the port's long-term strategy of building relationships with the trucking community?
Yeah, so overall, we want to build trust. We want to make sure that we're not only engaging with the trucking companies or the trucking associations. We really want to get that driver perspective. So a lot of times we're trying to get out in front of different types of drivers, right? Independent owner operators. We have a lot of IOOs that work here at the port. And so we understand that they might be coming here only once a month. They might very infrequently visit the Port of New York and New Jersey. And so their feedback could be completely different from somebody who is making moves here every single day or works for a trucking company that has larger representation on some of our stakeholder groups and we might have more engagement with. So we're really trying to just make sure that we overall are reaching different types of drivers, different folks, different levels of experience, so that we can make sure that they have everything that they need and answers to their questions. It's a strategy that we have with different stakeholder groups, right? We're always trying to do that with our marine terminal operators, our ocean carriers serving the port. So we want to make sure we're doing that at the same level in the trucking community as well.
Got it. Tell me about the Port Street Corridor Improvement Program.
Yeah, so that's a big project right now. It's part of the Port Authority's 10-year capital program. It's a $220 million project, and it is a roadway improvement project. So here at our complex in Port Newark and Elizabeth Port Authority Marine Terminal, there's really only two major roadway access points. And so the Port Street Corridor Improvement Project focuses on the single northern roadway access point, the Corbin Street, kind of Port Street corridor. So that area has some long-standing infrastructure. It's been there for a while, and it's a major roadway that was designed for a different time of different types of vehicles. So the construction period there is really focused on modernizing the roadway approach. It changes the geometry of some of the curves to make it safer for truckers to take those roadways in and out of the port. And so as of September, the major ramp there, which is called Corbin Street Ramp, was taken out of service to be rebuilt. So it'll be out of service for the next year, opening back up in fall of 2025. And so during that time period, we've had a roadway detour for truckers to take. So instead of that route on Corbin Street Ramp, which takes them from Port Street directly onto the north-south Corbin Street corridor, they're now going from Port Street to Marlin Street to Kellogg and then turning on Corbin Street. So it's a change for the drivers that have been accessing the port frequently, and it's something new for drivers that might be first-time truckers here as well. So we've really been trying to make sure our communication strategy gets out in front of any changes to that detour or any traffic concerns on that detour and ways that we can change traffic patterns to keep the flow of trucks moving along that roadway.
So you said this is a 10-year project?
No, it's part of a 10-year capital project.
Okay.
That's how the Port Authority approaches construction, but this will go out until, I believe, 2028, 2029. Yeah.
Okay. And you're basically redesigning the entire roadway.
Exactly, yeah. Rebuilding a ramp, redesigning inner and outer Port Street so it'll be wider, have more shoulder space for any sort of emergency bypass areas. And then, yeah, safer turns. Right now it's a very tight turn, so we want to make sure that truckers are able to take that turn a little bit safer, improves the flow of goods too. So making sure that we can have truckers coming in and out safely, but efficiently is really the main focus of the project. So.
Got it. Are there any upcoming milestones or deadlines that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, so right now that Corbin Street ramp is out of service. Truckers are taking that detour, but in fall of 2025, everything is on schedule with the project right now. So Corbin Street ramp should be reopening. It'll be a brand new ramp. There will be an extra lane on that ramp as well. So it'll change the flow of how truckers are entering and exiting the port there too.
Got it. Are there any specific safety improvements that are being prioritized over the other?
Really just it's general flow of trucks. So we're hoping to reduce any sort of overturned vehicles, motor vehicle accidents that historically had happened in that area as truckers were taking that sharp curve. There had also been some flooding in that area, so the project totally redesigns that area and lifts the roadway up so that we can have some additional resiliency around any potential flooding events. So that whole area in the northern kind of access point of the port will be safer. It'll be a better flow on the roadway for those truckers and some reduced kind of areas that had some higher congested traffic light areas as well. So
Got it.
looking forward to it.
Are there any partnerships with local government or trucking organizations involved in this initiative?
Yes, yeah, we have a Port Street Corridor working group. So it's the major tenants that are in that area on port property, as well as trucking associations and regional warehouse operators that have trucking fleets that are utilizing those roadways to access the port. So we meet usually monthly. It was more frequent right before the ramp was coming out of service, so we could kind of understand their concerns, as well as test out different ideas with our traffic engineering folks to try to make sure that the detour worked best for those trucking users. So we meet frequently. They really are the ones that are sharing a lot of the input and feedback with us about how the detour has been going. Since meeting with them, we've had some slight kind of modifications to traffic lights and different areas on the detour to keep the trucks moving. So we have a constant green arrow on one intersection that wasn't supposed to have that initially, all based on feedback from stakeholders.
Okay, got it. And what's the overall carrier sentiment these days? I mean, how's the attitude of the guys these days? What's going on?
Yeah.
Guys and gals out there.
I think it's busy, right? I think we've seen a lot of traffic and a lot of that trucking activity recently. So I know folks are trying to get in and make sure they can pick up or drop off their cargo before the holiday season truly sets in. So I know it's been busy out there, but yeah, I think we've really just been trying to focus on that traffic management side right now at the port, making sure that we can keep truckers moving safely and quickly so that they can complete those moves.
Got it. And are there signs of things picking up, slowing down, kind of evening out? What does it look like?
Yeah, I think we're looking pretty strong throughout the end of the year. Not as busy as the July peak season, but our August and September, as I mentioned before, has been pretty strong. So I think that'll be kind of a continuation until the end of the year into January and February, and then might see a little bit of a typical seasonality slowdown for Lunar New Year, but everything we've heard, cargo volumes are continuing to be strong and not expecting any significant kind of out of normal slowdowns in the future.
Got it. If there's one message you could send out there to the trucker community, what would that be?
Please keep engaging with us. Yeah, anything good, bad, concerns you have, improvements, ideas, we're really all ears. We just want to make sure that we are really working with the trucker community, that we're hearing them, that they see those changes happening. And so we just appreciate engagement. Definitely want them to sign up for that trucker ambassador program too, so we can hear directly from them and that they can see all of their feedback in action.
Blair, thank you so much for the update, and thank you for partnering with Truck and Hustle to get the word out. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Rahmel. We appreciate it too.
Sounds good. All right, guys, if you love Truck and Hustle and you love the interviews and the information that we're providing week to week, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. All right, Hustle fam.